Okay. Tonight, I'll be discussing two topics. One is percentage, and the other one is profit and loss. Okay. So, when we talk about percentage, see, from tonight on, I want you to do like this. When you see topic based on simple interest or questions based on profit and loss or discount, let's try to view from percentage point of view. Okay, let's try to solve from percentage point of view, which makes it much more easier. So if you look at a question from percentage point of view, what you will do is that you will see this question much more easier. You will see this type of question, the question based on profit and loss, much more easier. So before going to the topic, let's try to understand how to apply percentage first. Okay, after that, let's try to learn the types of question and how to convert from one form to the other. I'll be following the same pattern that I used to teach, so I hope you'll follow me with this as well. So let's begin with this question. Question number one here, just to understand how to approach a question. That's the reason why I'm doing this. Okay, the question says like this: if 78% of a total amount is 390, then the total amount. So the question here in this question we are given like this: 78% is given as 390. So if 78% is 390, we are asked to find the total amount. Total amount means what? 100%, right? So 1% is how much here? 390 is 1% here. Divided by 78 is 1% here. So if I want to find for 100%, I'll just multiply by 100. So multiplying by 100 on both sides, 390 divided by 78 into 100. If you cut this one, so this we will get it is 39 ones are 39 twos are 2 fives are. So 5 into 100 is nothing but 100%. We are getting our answer as 500, which is option number A. I hope we are clear with this. So I'm just using the same approach that we used to use. Okay. So with this approach, I'm going to solve all the questions. So same thing here, same type of question, similar type of question, but the words that they use, the approach here is a little bit different. The question says like this: 54 is 45% of what number? Actually, this both the questions are BYQs of Nssb only. For basic understanding, we are solving this. Okay, 54 is 45% of what number? So which simply means like this: 45% of a number is nothing but 54. That's what the question says. 45 45 45% of a number is this one. So what is the number we asked us? So which means 45% is given as 54. So what do we know? We know that 1% will be 54 divided by 45. So we are asked to find the number. So 100%. So we need to find the number here will be the 100% here. 100% will be 54 divided by 45 into 100. So if we simplify this, 9 6 are 54, 9 5, 5 2s are 10, 0, 6 2s are 12. So which means the answer here is 120, which is option number D there. I hope we are clear with this. Till now, are you guys following? These are basics only. Now let's go to the next one. Okay, similar type of question. See, this is a question. If you read first, when you read the question, you may think that the question is from profit and loss. But this type of question we can approach from percentage easily. The question says Ravi buys an article and sells it for 682 rupees with 10% profit. Then its cost price is. We are asked to find the cost price. If you are to approach this question with a formula, there is a formula we're going to discuss later. But without formula, also we can approach this very easily from percentage perspective. Okay, so the question says Ravi is buying an article and sells it for this one with 10% profit. Can I say like this? Let's say the cost price was 100, and if there is a profit of 10%, if there is a profit of 10%, now the selling price will be 110%. This one is cost price. That means with how much money you are buying. Let's assume that we bought it for 100 rupees, and because of 10% increment or 10% profit, this will be, you will have to, you are selling at a 10% profit. That's the reason why the price now is 110. So I'll use it in terms of percentage. Earlier it was 100%. Because of 10% increment, our selling price has become 110. So the question says this 100%, 110%, which is the selling price, sells it for how much? Selling price is given as 682. So I'll repeat again. What I'm doing is I'm assuming that the cost price is 100, and the question says he is selling at a profit of 10%. That means from 100, if there is an increment of 10%, then it will give, it will be 110, right? So the cost price was 100 rupees, but because of the increment, because of the profit of 10%, the selling price has become what? 110. So the question says again, the selling price is 682. That means this 110 is nothing but 682. So what is asked? Then the cost price is, we are asked to find the cost price. So what I'll do is I'll find 1% here. 1% will be how much? 682 divided by 110. And 100 cost, what is cost price? Cost price means this one, which is 100. So I'll just find for 100%. So 100%, so which means 682 110 into 100. So 0 will get cancelled each other. 11 6 are 66, 11 2 are 22. That means 620 is our answer here. So which is option number B here. So this question is from Npsc PYQ. I hope you are following me with this. Are we clear with this? If you're clear, please give a thumbs up. We'll move on to the next question. Yeah. Okay, one more question. This is a question based on simple interest. So, but let us approach from percentage perspective. Obviously, we'll be doing from simple interest approach as well, but just for our understanding, let us try to solve this one with simple interest. But before going to simple interest, before going to this one, I'll just tell you something here which will be helpful for you. I call it 10 tight rule. 10 tight rule means like this. 10 tight rule is a shortest approach to find 10% of something, 10% of a number, okay? So let's say your income was 9,000. Let's say your monthly income is now 9,000. Then as a Christian, what we do is, how do we do? We pay 10%. So what will be your 10 tithes for this? 10 tithes, 10% will be, we know that it will be directly 900. So same thing here. If your, or before that, let us read the question here. The question is, the simple interest on rupees, this one, 9,801 for 3 years at 10% rate of interest per annum is. So the question says like this, you have a money of 9,810. This is the money here. And the question says the interest, the rate of interest is 10%. So 10% is the rate of interest. But remember, we are talking about 3 years. That means 10% for first year, 10% for the second year, 10% for the third year. So this is first year, second year, and third year. So total will be how much? 30%. So the total interest first year is this one. For the first year, since the question says the rate of interest is 10% per annum, that means per year, okay? Year 1 is 10%, year 2 is another 10%, year 3 is another 10%. So which means the total percentage will be how much? 30%. You just need to find 30% of this one. 30% of, I'll just rewrite it this way, 30% of how much of this one? That will be the interest, 9801. Because first year increase 10%, second year 10%, 30, another 10%, total will give us 30% here. So we just need to find 30% of that. Or the other approach is like this. The other way around is, we can easily say, what's the 10% of this? If your income is 9,000 something, if your income is 9,801, then what will be your 10 tithes there? Your 10 tithes here will be how much? If your income is 9801, your 10 tithes will be 980.1. You just need to find the 10% of that. So how do we find 10%? 9,000, let's say your income was 9,800, round figure, 9,800. Then what will be your 10 tithes? It will be 900. 980. You have 1 here. That means I just need to put 0.1 here. Why? Because if your income is 1 rupees, then your 10 days will be 0.1 paise. So likewise, I'm putting 0.1 there. So this is 10%. We need to find how much? 30%. So we have 10% as 9801. I just need to find 30%. So 1% will be 9801 divided by 10. So 30% is nothing but 9801 divided by 10 into 30. 0 cancel. So if we multiply this to 3 3 ones are 3. Oh, there will be 10 here. So which means if we cancel multiply this, I'm getting 3 here. So 3, oh my god, 3 ones are 3, 3 0, 3 8s are 24, 4 2 in hand, 3 9 27, 28 29. So 290, this one, which is this one. Or if you're approaching by this approach will be 30%. I'll teach you how to convert from percentage to fraction. The only simplest approach is this way. If you're converting from percentage to fraction, you just divide it by 100. I'll teach you the next step here. Of means into 9801. So 0 0 will get cancelled each other. If you multiply this two, you will get 29403 divided by 10, which will be equal to 29403. Did I miss something here? I think I missed something here. What is it? This one, 9. Oh, this one is 100%, right? If I'm, there should be a point here, there should be a point here if I'm writing 10% there. Okay, so the answer will be this one. So which is option number A. So that is how you approach simple interest type of question from percentage perspective. Okay, let's try one more question from a question of based on ratio and proportion. Since we have done ratio and proportion, we can do this question easily. So let's give a try. The question says like this: a person buys 3 articles P, Q, and R for 3,330 rupees. If P costs 25% more than R and R costs 20% more than Q, then what is the cost price of P? Remember one thing. I told you when we were solving ratio and proportion that you check for the common term. P is referring with what? Is referring with R, and R is referring with what? Q. So what I'll do is I can write it this way. I have P, Q, and R. If I want to find the ratio of this, the question says P is referring with R and R is referring with Q. That means I'll have to assume this here. I'll have to assume Q because R is referred with this one and this one is referred with P. So I'll have to assume this one only. Don't assume this one, okay? Don't assume this. Assume the last one. So what I'll do is I'll assume Q as 100. If Q is 100, remember one thing, again, one more key point is that when there is percentage, always assume 100. Okay? So the value that you are assuming, let it be 100. And after that, you can increase, decrease easily there, okay? So I'm assuming Q is 100. If Q is 100, the question says what? R costs 20% more than Q. 20% more than 100 will be 120. Because the question says R goes 20% more than Q. If Q is 100, R goes how much? 20% more, which means 120 there, plus of 20, which is 20%. But remember one thing, the twist is here. P costs 25% more than R. P costs 25% more than R. R here is 120. So I cannot use 125 here. Always remember this. I cannot use 125 because I am not referring P with Q. If I was referring P with Q, then this would have been 125. But since we are comparing this P with R here is 120. So what I'll do is I'll try to find 25%. I'll try to find 25% of how much? 120. What will be the 25% of 120? 25% of 120 will be 25 divided by 100 into 120. 0, 0 cancel. That means, or we can also assume 25%, 25. We'll just multiply here. 5 5s are 25, 5 2s are 10, 2 6 are 12. That means 5 6 are 30 here. 25% of 120 is nothing but 30 there. That's what I'm getting if my calculation is not wrong. So remember, P here is how much? from R, which is P value, I'll just write R value is 120. From R, P is 25% more. 25% is how much? 30. Remember, I'll just repeat again. P is 25% more than 25% more than R. R value it was a. So from this one, there is 25% more. This is 25%. So P value will be how much? P value will be 150. So which means P value is 150. So I'll solve it from ratio and proportion perspective. Okay, since we have done ratio and proportion. So if I reduce this 0, 0, 0, I can cancel. So PQ and R ratio is 15 is to 10 is to 12. This is the ratio of P is to Q is to R. Let us look at the question once. The question says, a person buys three articles P, Q, and R at this much rupees. So total amount here is 3330. This is the total amount. But remember, according to our ratio, what is the total amount? According to our ratio, total amount will be 15 plus 10 plus 12. So which will be 15, 20, 25, 30, 37. 37. So now what we are getting here is that according to the question, the total amount is 3,330. But according to our ratio, the total is how much? It is 37. So which means that this 37 represents how much? 3, 3, 3, and 0. So 1 in terms of ratio will represent how much? 3, 3, 3, and 0 divided by 37. This is 1 in terms of ratio. So 1 in terms of ratio is this. What is asked? The cost, then what is the cost price of P? Cost price of P. P ratio gimana sih? B's ratio is 15. If 1 is this one, I just need to find 15 easily. 15 is nothing but 3330 divided by 37 into 15. So how do you find this? I think I've told you when we in our first class that always remember this 111 is nothing but 37 into 3. So what I'll do is I'll do like this. This can be rewritten as this 333, this one. Can I write it this way? I can write this one as 3 into 111 into 10 divided by 37 into 15. I can also rewrite this one as, that means, see, if you look here, 3 into 111 will be 333, and 333 into 10 will be this one only. I'm just simplifying, okay? I'm just finding the factor of this, and we know that what 111 value is 37 into 3 into 10 divided by 37 into 15. So if we simplify this, our value will be, let's simplify this, 37 and 37 will get cancel each other, and 3 threes are 9, and which means 90 into 15, 15. So 0, 9 5s are 45, 49, 9 1s 9, 13, 1350 is what I'm getting. Do we have option? Yeah, the answer here is 1350, which is option number T. Are you guys following this? If you have doubts, I'll clarify. You can type in repeat. I'll repeat there. Clear? How? If you're clear, please give a thumbs up. We'll move on to the next. If you're clear. Okay. If you're clear, let's go to the next question now. Now let's begin. What is percentage now? Okay, I've discussed how to approach question from percentage perspective. See, all the questions that we have done are from different topics, but we have approached all the questions from percentage perspective. So let's try the core concept of percentage now. So if you want to convert from percentage to fraction, okay, percentage to fraction, how do you do? Let's say I have 20%. If I want to convert this one to fraction, the formula is this. If you're converting from percentage to fraction, the only thing is that 20, in place of this percentage, you divide it by 100. So which means 0, 0 cancel, 2 ones are 2, 2, 5. So 1 by 5. So which means 20% in terms of fraction is nothing but 1 by 5. Now the other way around is, if you want to convert from fraction to percentage, what do you do then? let's say you have a fraction of 1 by 4. And if you want to convert this 1 by 4 in terms of percentage, how do you do? This 1 by 4, you multiply it by 100. Remember earlier what we were doing was we were dividing by 100 when we are converting from percentage to fraction. And if you're converting from fraction to percentage, you multiply by 100. So if you cancel this, 4 into 5, that means 25, which is equal to 25%. So 1 by 4 is nothing but 25%. So I'll just repeat again. The core concept is this. In your options, your answer may be in terms of percentage or it may be in terms of fraction. It doesn't matter which approach you are using. But remember this, if you're converting from percentage, if you in your option, if it is in terms of percentage, always convert to percentage. How? Just multiply by 100. In your option, if it is numbers only or in terms of fractions only, what do? You just divide it by 100, which will give you your answer in terms of fraction. Are we clear with this? Shall we move on to next? Next is comparing two quantities. When we compare two quantities, this is the most important thing. This one, comparing two quantities, is very important for DI, data interpretation. Okay, your other teacher will be discussing question based on data interpretation. Now, in data interpretation, what we do is we compare two quantities most of the time. Okay, so try to understand this carefully. If asked y is what percent of x, then x is always written in the denominator. What do we mean by this? I'll just insert a slide and I'll discuss this. Let's say the question says like this: 25 is what percent of 100? Let's say the question was like this: 25 is what percent of 100? So remember, 25, we are asked about 25. So 25 should always be written in the denominator of 100. Of what? 100. So when you are comparing two quantities, I am comparing this 25 with what? With 100. 25 is what percent of 100. So I'm comparing 25 with 100. That's the reason why I'm writing this 100 in the denominator. This is what statement number A says. If asked y is what percent of x, that means I'm comparing y with x. Then x is always written in the denominator. That means I'm comparing here 25 with 100. That's the reason why I'm writing this 100 in my denominator. But remember one thing, this one, if you reduce this one, 25 ones are 25, 25 fours are. My answer here is 1 by 4. But remember, if your answer, the required here is what percent? We are asked to find in terms of percentage. How do we do? If I have fraction and if I want to convert in terms of percentage, I just need to multiply by 100, which means 25, which is 25%. So that's the answer there. Now, another statement number B here is this. If y is compared to x, then we always assume x as 100%. So it's like this. Let me explain with an example. 4 is, or the question that we have done, 54 is, I don't know which percent. Let me just use 30% of, oh, what is it? What's the statement here? If y is compared to x, then we always assume x is 100%. Okay, let me rewrite it again. A is 20% of B. Easiest one. Let's say I have A is 20% of B. So the question, this statement says that A is 20% of B. In this kind of comparing quantities, what we do is we assume this one is 100%. Are you following this? A is what? 20% of B. So which means that B is 100%. So that's what statement number 2 says. Statement number 2 says that if y is compared to x, then we always assume x is 100%, which means that this statement number 2, we use it when the exact value or the number is not given. Okay, your value, your statement will be something like, it will be given in terms of percentage and compared with the other one, and this value is also not given. That means this one will be 100% there. Okay, so with that in mind, let's try one question here. A very simple question, just a basic question here. If P is equal to 50 and Q is equal to 230, then Q is what percent more than P? If you are asked to find more than or less than, what we do is we do like this. P is given as 50 and Q is given as 230. The question says Q is what percent more than P? So let us find the difference between these two. P Q minus B is 230 minus 50 is nothing but how much? 180. So what I can tell is that Q is 180 more than P. Q is 180 more than P. That's what I can say. Next, what is asked? Q is what percent more than P? I've written here in the bracket to understand better. P should be in the denominator. Why? Because we are comparing Q with P. So which means this should be in your denominator. So what I can tell is that Q is how much? Q is 180 more than P. And since I'm referring Q with P, I need to write P in my denominator, which is 50. And I want to get my answer in terms of percentage. That's the reason why I multiply by 100 there. So this one, if I cancel this, 50 into 2, 180 into 2 is 360. So the answer is this. I hope we are clear with this. If it was less than, also same thing, okay? So this is how we approach this type of question. This is very important for data interpretation because we will be using this one over and over again in data interpretation. Let's try a question. This is a question which was asked in Npsc 2021, I guess, or 2023, I'm not sure. You can cross-check PYQ. Let's try this question. It's a question based on percentage as well. So how do we approach this type of question? The question says like this. In a written test consisting of two papers, a student scores 30% in the first paper. That means there's two paper. I'll just write first paper and second paper. A student scores 30% in the first paper of 180 marks. That means what I'll do is full marks for paper 1 is 180 and the student is scoring how much? 30% there. That's number one thing. And how much percent marks should he score in the second paper of 150 marks? Full marks for second paper is how much? 150 marks. And we asked to find how much percent should he score here if he is to get an overall percentage of 50%. If he needs to get an overall percentage of 50%. So which means combining these two subjects, he need to get how much? 50%. So 50% means what? 50% of the total marks. Okay, so can I say like this? I'll just create an equation using this. Okay, how do we create the equation? The question says he needs to score how much? 50% of. So this is subject 1 and subject 2. If you are finding average or if you are finding percentage from your mark sheet, what do? You always find total marks, right? The total marks here is 180 plus 150. This is paper 1 and this is paper 2. So total marks will be how much? Total marks here is 0, 0, and 8, 13, 3, 1 in hand, and which is 330. So 330. I need to get what? 50% of this 330, which should be equal to paper 1. Paper 1 score is how much? He is scoring how much? 30% of how much? 180. Plus, remember one thing here. The full marks for paper 2 is 150, but we don't know how much percent he need to score of, how much is it? Of 150. So I'll just repeat again for your understanding. There's two papers here. Out of that, the first paper is full marks is 180 and he is scoring 30% there. But for paper 2, the full marks is 150. But how much, we are asked to find how much percentage should he score here in order to get an overall percentage of 50%. So 50% of how much? of the total marks. Total marks here is 180 plus 50, which is 330 there. So total marks, he need to score 50% of 330. Combining what and what? Paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 is how much? 30%. He in for paper 1, he's scoring 30% of 180, and for paper 2, he need to score X% of 150 there. So let's try to solve this one completely. So which means 50% means 50 divided by percentage. I need to convert it to fraction. So divided by 100. Of means into 330 equal to 30%, same thing, divided by 100 into 180 plus x divided by 100. Same thing, I'm converting this percentage to fraction of 150. 0, 0 cancel. 0, 0, 0, 0 cancel. Another 0, another 0, another 0, another 0. 5 3s are 15, 5 3s are 15, 16, which is equal to 3 8s are 24, 4 29, 3 1 are 3, 4 5. 3 8s are 24. Plus 5 3s are 15, 5 2s are 10. X is equal to, can I just write it like this? 3 by 2x. This is what we have. So let's try to solve this completely. I think we should get the answer by this. So what do we have here? 165. If I transfer this 54 to the other side, it will be minus 54, which is equal to 3 divided by 2x. So which is equal to, how much is it? If I subtract this one, 5 minus 4 is 1, and 6 minus 1 here and 1 here, into, if I transfer this 2 to the other side, it will be 2 here, into 3 is equal to x. So what are we getting here? So we are getting here, if we multiply this, 2 ones are 2, 2 ones are 2, 2 ones are 2 divided by 3 is equal to x. What is given? What are the options here? We'll get the percentage score. Is our calculation correct? Oh, we need to get our answer in terms of how much percentage marks should he score. I shouldn't have converted to percentage here, to fraction here, but it's okay. Let us convert it to percentage. How do we convert it to percentage? 2 divided by 3. I need to multiply by 100. That means if your answer is in terms of percentage, and if you want to get your answer in terms of, in terms of fraction, and if you want to get your answer in terms of percentage, you just multiply by 100, which is equal to x. So you solve this one, you will get your answer here. So which means it will be how much? Nearly 24, 50%. So I'll leave it for you. This one, solve it completely here. You can multiply this one, 2, 2, 2. And how much is it? 0, 0 divided by 3. Can we just, 3 7s are 21, 70 something point. Do we have one? We have two options here. So which means 22, 3 7s are 21. That means 12. 3 4 are 12. 74 point something. 74, which is option number A there. So 74 is your answer. 74 is your answer there. Okay. So are we clear with this? Any doubts regarding this? If you want me to repeat, I'll repeat. Clear? Okay. So let's go to the next question. The next question here is a question from Upsc BYQ. The question says like this: two students. We have two students. Student number 1 is student X and Y appears in a test. The score of X is 20 more than that of Y. If he scores X, if the score of X is 75% of the sum of the scores of Y, then what is the ratio of X to the score of Y? Okay, it may be a lengthy question. Let's give it a try. I'll try to write like this. I'll try to solve this one from ratio and proportion perspective as well, okay? Because we need to find ratio. So how do we do? There is X, there is Y. The question says X, the score of X is 20 more than that of Y. Can I say like this? Let me use capital letter here. X and Y. Let's say Y scored Y marks. Then the question says X scores 20 more than Y. 20 more than Y. The question says X scores 20 more than Y. That means if the score of Y is Y, then X scores 20 more. 20 more means plus 20 there. Okay. Now let us get back to the question. If the score of x is 75%, that means if the score of x is equal to is equal to 75% of the sum of the scores of x and y is equal to 75% of what? Sum of the scores of x and y. I'll just use capital here. X and y. Now let us put the values. Okay. What's the score of x? X score is y plus 20. Y plus 20 is the score of x. And what's the score? Can I write 75% like this? 75 divided by 100, because I'm converting from percentage to fraction. I'm just dividing by 100 there. Of means into. Remember one thing, x score is how much? The score of x is nothing but y plus 20. So which means y plus 20. What's the score of y? Y score is y only, plus y. So if we simplify this, y plus 20 is equal to 25 3s are 25 4s are. That means 3 by 4 is what we have, into y plus y. We have y 2 times. That means y plus y will give us how much? 2 times of y plus 20. So now after reaching this point, there's 2 or 3 ways approach, whether you can take common or cross multiply, anything. Okay, I'll transfer this one to the other side, or I'll just multiply. Y plus 20 is equal to 3 divided by 4 into 2y plus 3 divided by 4 into 20. Okay, 4 5s are 20, and 2 1s are 2, 2 2s are 4. So what do we have here? Y plus 20 is equal to 3 by 2y plus, how much is it? 3 5s are 15. So what I'll do is I'll transfer around some. Oh, I'll just write it here. We are coming. Oh, I need to insert one more slide. Okay. Okay. If I simplify this, I'll transfer this 15 to the other side and y to the other side. So which means 20 minus 15 is equal to 3 by 2y minus y. I'm transferring plus y to the other side, it will be minus y. I'm transferring plus 15 to the other side, it will be minus 15. So which we will get 20 minus 15 is 5. And the LCM is 2 here, 3y minus 2y. So if I transfer this 2 to the other side, it will be 5 into 2, which is equal to how much? Y here. 5 2s are, y is nothing but 10. What is x? Let's go back again. What's the ratio of the score of x and y? Okay, if y score is this one, what will be the x score? X score is y plus 20, right? 20 more than 20 more than y? Yes. The score of x is nothing but 20 more. That means 10 plus 20, what are we getting? 30. The score of y is 10. The score of y is 10, and the score of x is 30. What is required? The score of x to score of y. X to score of y, 0 0 cancel. 3 is to 1, which is option number, how much? Option number C there. I hope we are clear with this. It may look a bit lengthy, but if you approach this way, it is much more easier. Or if you are good with calculation, you can make it much more shorter. Okay. If I was approaching this question in an exam hall, I won't simplify that much. Since every one of us are not the same, that's the reason why I'm just simplifying further again and again. Okay. So let's go to the next. The next type of question we see in exam is this one. Remember, for Npsc perspective, what I will suggest is that this is also one of the most important type of question we see in exam. So we see question based on this one a lot, okay? Even for UPSC, every time we see question based on this one. But of course, UPSC, the question are a little bit twisted, but Npsc, direct formula only, okay? But this formula here, we have two things. The number one is, the question may be asked this way. A is R% more than P, then P is less than A by what percent? The question can be asked that way. A is R% more than P, R% more than B. That means I'm comparing this one with this one. Then P is less than A by what percent? You can ask that approach. But we see this one most of the time only in SSC kind of exam or railway kind of exam. So we see this approach in central exams only most of the time. But this approach here we see in civil service exam. The question is like this. If the question can be asked from, if the price of a commodity is increased by R%, then the percentage reduction in the consumption so as not to increase the expenditure. That means in order to keep the expenditure same, even though there is a rise in the price of on a commodity, that's it. When we use this one. Since the price is increasing, you need to reduce your consumption so that your uh, expenditure remains the same. So this is when we use that. Or the question can be asked this way. This is another formula. A is R% less than B, then B is more than A by. Remember, the first one was more than, the second one is less than, okay? That's the difference here. Same thing here. If the price of a commodity is decreased by R%, then the percentage increase in consumption so as not to decrease the expenditure. That means if there is a decrease in price and if you want to keep the expenditure same, that means you will have to eat more, right? So that your expenditure is same. Since the price of your maybe rice or anything, in order to keep your expenditure same, you need to consume more. That's the only thing. So the formula is this. So remember one thing, if there is increase, there will be plus sign. If there is decrease, there will be minus sign. That's the only difference. Okay. But sometimes the question may be twisted this way. You will be asked to find what fraction, say, let's do like this. Uh, if the price of a commodity is increased by R%, then reduction, then what fraction in the consumption should be reduced? Okay, what fraction should be reduced? Percentage na tagina fraction utishigola. What do we do in that case? If you also find fraction, just remove this 100 because this will give you in terms of fraction. And if you want to get your answer in terms of percentage, you'll have to multiply by 100. So if, excuse me once. Yeah. If you want to get your answer in terms of fraction, then you just remove this one. Don't multiply by 100. That's the only thing, okay? So now let's give it a try. The question here says, the price of a commodity is increased by 50%. By what fraction must its consumption be reduced so as to keep the expenditure same? That means there is an increase. What was the formula? If there's an increase, the formula is R divided by increase means 100 plus R. Increase means plus R. And we need to get our answer in terms of what is it? What fraction? What fraction? So I don't need to multiply by 100 here. I don't need to put this one. Actually, we know that if there, in our formula there is 100 there, but I don't need to put this because we are asked to find fraction only. So 50% was increased and 100 plus 50, which is equal to how much? 50 divided by 150, 51s are 53s are. That means 1 by 3. I'll give you a shortcut approach to this one. And you can use this one in exam hall. The shortcut approach is this. Let's say earlier the price was 100. By chance productive formula to power check. In exam, let's say you have forgotten the formula. How do we do that? The approach is this. You just assume, I told you earlier as well, when there is percentage, you assume one of the term as 100. So what I'll do is my assumption will be 100. From 100, there is an increment of, that means the price was increased by how much? 50%. So which means it will become how much? 150, right? Earlier it was 100. Since there is an increase of 50%, it will be 150 there. The trick to this type of question is, I can write it this way. From 100, okay. From 100, your consumption becomes this, your new value is 150. So the simple shortcut way is just this. You just reverse this one. So which means 150 will come here and what is it? This 100 will go here. We call it reciprocal, okay? So earlier it was 100, then the old price was 100, then the new price is this one. So now what I did was I bought this one here and I bought this one here. What is increased here? From here to here, what is increased? 50% is increased. Remember, from here to here, 50% is increased. So what we will do is, I'll use this 50 here, formula as day. And since I'm comparing from this one, that means from here, we are going to this one. So which means I'm comparing with this one. That's the reason why I'll write this one in my denominator. So if you want to find fraction, same thing here, 1, 3. So same answer here, 1 by 3. But this approach is a shortcut approach, and this is, we use it when you don't, when you've forgotten formula, or for me, I use this approach a lot, but not this way. Let's say 50% what is it? 50% fraction is what? 1 by 2, right? So what I'll do is I'll do like this, 2 is to 3, and it will become 3 is to 1. So what is from 3 to this one, what is increased? I'll just check that, or 3 is to 2 here. From 3 to 2, how much is increased? 1 is increased, and 3 I'm comparing with this. So the answer is that, like that. So different people, different approach, but for safety, you can memorize this formula. Okay, let's try one question. Oh, I'll give this one as a homework. Same question. This, it's about a petrol price and certain percentages increase. So you just need to find that. That's the only thing. Okay, I won't do that. Next question. This was a very interesting question that was asked in Npsc. Okay, the question is like this. The question is a little bit twisted. That's the reason why many of them who knew the formula also may not be able to do this. The question says like this: the price per kg of a pulses is increased by 25%. That means there is an increase of 25%. Then find the percentage reduction in domestic consumption by the people who can afford only 10% increase in expenditure. Remember earlier formula itu takana. In our formula, this was not there. So this is the tricky part here. How do we approach this type of question? There's two approach. I've written the formula here. You can use this formula also. You can use this formula. The formula for this one is this one is expenditure, and this one is price, and this one is consumption. Okay, this one is expenditure, this is price, and this one is consumption. So if you are using this rule, how do we do? I'll do like this. The person who can afford an expenditure of how much? Of 10% increase. 10% increase, which means if there was 100, he can afford till 110. So what I'll do is expenditure he can afford is deal 110. This is expenditure of how much he can afford. And we need to find consumption. Okay, we need to find consumption. The reduction in consumption, we need to find this. But remember this one. Price here. Price was increased by 25%. That means if earlier it was 100, then if it is increased by 25%, it will be how much? It will be 125, right? So what I'll do is from expenditure into price into consumption. Expenditure he can afford to 100 then, and price has went up to 125, and the consumption will be how much? So which means 110 divided by 125 is equal to C. But remember, this one is in terms of fraction. If you want to get your answer in terms of percentage, we'll multiply by 100. So 25 5s are 25 4s are 5 2s are 10, 5 2s are 10. So C is equal to, how much are we getting? C is equal to 4 2s are 8, 4 2s are 8. Consumption is 88. So now the consumption has become 88. From 100, earlier it was 100. Now the consumption has become 88. So how much reduced? From 100, if I reduce 88 here, it will be 10 minus 2 is 2, 1 is 12. So the answer here is 12%. For some, this may look a bit lengthy, but I'll give you another approach. I'm doing this by this approach because this some question itulah approach it becomes complicated. Okay, that's the reason why, just for the sake of this one, I'm explaining. But if I was in the exam hall, I wouldn't approach by this approach. I'll give you What was the formula earlier? If there was an increment, R divided by R plus 100. Oh no, how did I give you? R divided by 100 plus R, same thing only, into 100. This was the formula. Remember one thing, there was an increase of 15%. There was an increase of 15%. But what is it? The question says there was an increase of 15% in place of this 100. In place of this 100 here, what I'll do is I'll use 110. Why? Because he can afford till 110. The question says like this: a person who can afford only a 110 10% increase in expenditure. 10% increase in expenditure means if it was 100, 10% increase means how much? It is 110. So which means he can afford till 110. So that's the reason why I'll use 110 there. Plus, oh, I'm skipping one thing here. Let me just repeat again. 15 as 25. Oh, we're doing correct. There is an increase of 25. I'm so sorry. I thought it was 15. There is an increase of 25%. So what I'll do is I'll reframe this one again. How? The person can afford till 110, but the price is increased by 25%. That means it will be how much? 25% is 125. From 100, if there is an increase of 25%, it will be 125. This is a new price, but the person can afford from 100, a person can afford till 10% increment, which will be 110. So what I'll do is I'll use how much is increase here from 110 to 125. There's a plus of 15. Oh, we were doing correct. There is a plus of 15. So which means the rate of increase here will be 15%. 15 divided by, I'll use this one here because this is not the price here. He can afford till this one. That's the reason why I'm using this 110 plus there's an increment of how much? 15% into 100. So if you simplify this, you will still get the same value, which is 12%. I think we got 12%, right? So I'm not simplifying. I'll just leave it for you 15, and it is 125 into 100. Okay. So you solve this one. I hope we are clear with this. This one, it may sound a bit complex, but it's a good approach. I hope we are clear with this. Any doubts or any part you want me to repeat? I'll repeat again if you want me to. Okay, then let's go to the next. We have lots of questions left. We are on slide number 22. We have 59 slides. The first, okay, the petrol price. Okay, similar type of question, but since it's a Upsc question, there's a trick here. Let's read the question. The petrol price shot up by 10% as a result of the hike in the crude oil prices. The price of the petrol before the hike was 90 per liter. Okay, let me just write like this. There was an increase of 10%, and the price of the petrol was 90 before the hike. So can I write like this? From 90, if there is an increase of 10% in the price of petrol, then the new price will be how much? New price will be, if you get your income is 90 rupees, what will be your 10 times? 9 rupees, right? So which means 90 plus 9 will give us 99 rupees. From 90, 10% is how much? 9. From 90, there is an increase of 10%. That means 90 plus 9 will give us 99 rupees. Remember, this is the old price and this is the new price. I'm just following the question, okay? A person travels 2,200 kilometers every month. His car gives a mileage of 16 kilometer per liter. Okay, 16 kilometer per liter. How many kilometers should he reduce his travel if he wants to maintain the expenditure at the previous level? Okay, In this question, expenditure is also not given. We see that expenditure is not given, so which means we'll have to find expenditure first. Since expenditure is not given, what I'll do is I'll try to do like this. Expenditure is not given, so which means, okay, the mileage here is 16 kilometer, 16 kilometer per liter. So what I'll do is the person is traveling 2200 kilometer, and I'll divide it by 16. The value here 220 is a kilometer traveled, and the mileage is 16 kilometer per liter. If I want to find how much liters of petrol was consumed, then how do we do? 2200 kilometer chaise, and the petrol mileage is this one. So which means if I divide this kilometer by mileage, it will give us uh, the liter of petrol consumed. Okay, so let's give it a try. I guess we can get by this one. If we divide this, 4 5s are 20, 4 5s are 20, and 0, 4 4s are 16, 2 and 2 2s are 4, 2 7s are 14, 2 2s are 4, 2 7s are 14, and 2 5s are 10. Okay, we are getting 275 divided by 2. 275 divided. So we are consuming, if you want to get the accurate value, we can also divide this. 2 ones are 2, and 2 ones are 2, 2 3s are 6, 2 7s are 4, 2 2 7s are 14, and 2 5s are 10. Okay, it looks a bit complicated, but I'll just explain the things that I've written now. The price of a petrol was 90 rupees, and since there was an increase of 10%, it has become 99 rupees. But remember, expenditure is not given. So what I'll do is I'll do like this. I'm finding the liters of petrol consumed. Okay, the liters of petrol consumed. That means what I'm doing is the person is traveling 2,200 kilometer, and the mileage, that means the mileage here is 16 kilometer per liter. That means the car is consuming 16 liter, 16 kilometer. The car is consuming 1 liter for 16 kilometer. Okay, so for 1 liter of petrol, the car goes 16 kilometer. That's what it says. That's so what I'm doing is from this kilometer, I'm dividing this mileage in order to get the liters of petrol consumed. So this is the liters of petrol consumed, and the price is how much? 90. So if I want to find the expenditure, formula was what? Price into consumption, right? Price was 90 rupees, and the consumption is how much? I'll just use this one, okay, rather than using this one. 275 divided by 2. So 245. So which means if you multiply this, 45 for 275 into 45, 575, 529, 535, 36, 7, 7, 3, 9, 10, 13, 4, 5, 20, 0, 2 in hand, 4, 7, 28, 0, 2 in hand, 4, 8, 9, 10, 0 means, oh no, 5 2s are 10, 11, 12, it's 12. Oh, how much? There means something. 4 5s are 20, 0, 2 in hand. 4 7s are 28, 29, 30, 3 in hand. 4 is 8, 9, 10, 11. 5, 7, 3, 2, 1. So the expenditure is nothing but 1, 2, 3, 7, 5. Remember, we are just starting the question here. Now we know the expenditure. Expenditure is this one, and I need to keep this expenditure same because the question says he wants to maintain this expenditure, which is 12,375. So what do we do? I'll do like this. This price here, this is the expenditure. So what we will do is I'll divide this expenditure 12375 by the new price of the petrol. I was solving this way, now I'll solve this way. That means I multiplied by 90 here, right, with the old price. So now I'll just solve it reverse like this. So which means I'll divide this one by 99. That means I'm dividing the expenditure by 99, which will give me the leaders there. Okay. So what will it be? If we divide this, is it divisible by 9 or 11? Let's check by 11. It will be divisible by 11 nines are 11 ones are 11 1. That means 11 ones are 11 twos are 11 fives are. So which means is it divisible by 9? 5 plus 2 is 7, 8, 9. Yes. 9 ones are 9. That means how much? 9 ones are 9, 22. 9 twos are 18. 9 fives are 45. Okay. The consumption here is 125 liters. So we are getting 125 liters here. So if this is 125 liters, then we need to find the kilometer traveled by 25 liter. Okay. Are you guys following this? So do I need to repeat this part? No. Okay. Let me repeat. Okay. It's a bit complex. There are two parts. That's the reason why you may be getting confused here. I'll start from this part. Since this one is very easy, I have explained that 2 times. So what I'm doing here is I'm finding the liters here. How do we find liters? This kilometer divided by mileage will give me the liters of petrol consumed. And since this is the liters of petrol consumed, and we know that the price is how much? The price is 90 rupees. So this much liter of petrol was consumed and the price is 90 rupees. So if I want to find the expenditure will be the price of the petrol into how much petrol was consumed. The price of the petrol into how much petrol was consumed. Remember, it will be the same as they. These two are the same thing only because one is in terms of point and the other one is in terms of fraction. I'm just using in terms of fraction. Okay. So the price of the petrol multiplied with the liters of petrol consumed will give me the expenditure there. That means will give me the money spent. So this is the expenditure here. This 12,375 is the money spent. And I need to keep this one constant. I will not reduce nor increase, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm dividing this. I'm just checking how much liter can I buy by this rupees at a new price, 99 rupees, okay? How much liter can I buy by this new rupees, which is 99 rupees, uh, 99 per liter. Now the new price is 99 rupees per liter. And with this 12,375, how much liter can I buy? I'm checking that. That means this one divided by this one will give me, I can buy 125 liters of petrol. Okay. I can buy 125 liters of petrol. So let us check how long can I travel or how far can I go? That means kilometer travel will be using 125 kilometer, 125 liter, how far can I go? The mileage is how much? The mileage is 16. So using 1 kilometer, with 1 kilometer, I can travel 16 kilometer. That means, 1 liter of petrol, I'm so sorry with that. 1 liter of petrol can go 16 kilometer. That means 125 liter of petrol can go how much kilometer? Let's check. 125 into 16, 125 into 16, 6 5 30, 6 12, 15, 5 1 6 1 6 7, and 1 2 5 0 0 1 0 1 0 0 1. This is 2. So I'm getting 2 1 2 3. So with the new price, okay, with the new price of petrol, which is 99 rupees, the car can go how much? 2,000 kilometer. But remember one thing, earlier the car could travel how much? 2,200 kilometer. That means he needs to reduce how much? Earlier he could travel 2,200 kilometer, but now with the new price of a petrol, he can travel only 2,000 kilometer, which means he need to reduce 200 kilometer. Very tricky question, which is option number B there. Are we clear with this? Anything you want, any part you want me to repeat? I can repeat again. Hojo. If you are clear, you can give a thumbs up. If not, I'll repeat. Don't worry. Okay. If you are clear, then I'll move on to next. You rewatch again. I'll be uploading the video, so don't worry. Next is, okay, we have net percentage change or what? Okay. This question, I'll try to approach from different perspective. This is a question from UPSC PYQ as well. It looks a little bit tricky, but it's a very simple question, okay? Let's try to understand. The price of a commodity is first increased by K%, then decreased by K%, and again increased by K%, and again decreased by K%. If the new price is Q, then what is the relation between P and Q? Let us form an equation, okay? Right after forming our equation, we can get our answer directly. The question says the price P of a commodity, is increased by K. Let me take an example. If 100 rupees, if it is increased by 10%, what is it? It is 100 plus 10, right? Which will give us 110. And if 100 rupees, if it is decreased by 10%, it will be how much? 100 minus 10, right? Which is equal to 90. So what I can do is, if the first price is increased by K%, so earlier the price was 100 and it is increased by K, that means can I write like this? 100 plus K, just like I did here. Earlier the price was 100 and since it is increased by 10%, increased by 10%, it becomes 110 there. That means 100, which is the previous price, plus 10%. The previous price here is, earlier the price was 100 and from 100 it is increased by K%, by K. That's what I'm writing here, into, again the next part is, then decreased by K. That means decrease means when we say decrease, there is minus, right? So which means earlier the price was 100 and from 100 it is decreased by K. Decrease means minus, decreased by K. And let us go to the next. Again increased by K, again increased by K. That means again it is increased by K, and again decreased by K. That means again I'll just write again decreased by K divided by 100, which is equal to, that means the new price, okay, after an increase by K and decrease by K, increase by K and decrease by K, the new price, the final price is given as how much? Q. We just need to find the ratio of P and the relation between P and Q. I hope you're clear with this. Any doubts regarding this one? Because after this we have the answer directly. Okay, so you might have learned this one in or you may not have, but I'll just write a formula here. This is from algebra. A plus B, A minus B is nothing but A square minus B square. Okay, if you have A plus B and A minus B, you will get A square minus B square. Or if you have A square minus B square, A plus B, A minus B is what you will get. Okay, so if you look here carefully in this question, P into, if you look here carefully, can I say it like this? A mean, for A plus B, A minus B means first term or first term the same as it, second term or second term the same as it, just that this sign is different here. Okay, so if you look here, the first term and the first term is same, the second term and the second term is same, just that the sign is different here. So which means this is A plus B and this is A minus B. So A plus B, A minus B is what? Can I write it this way? A square minus B square. But remember, I have 100 here, I have 100 here. So I'll just write 100 into 100. Same thing goes for the other one. 100 plus K, 100 minus K. That means A plus B, A minus B. So I can write this one as A square minus B square divided by 100. We have two times, 100 into 100. 100, 100, which is equal to Q. Now, if you look here carefully, we know that if you have 2 into 2, what do? We write 2 square, right? So if you look here carefully, you have 100 square minus K square, you have 100 square minus K square, 2 times, right? Can I write like this? P into 100 square minus K square whole square, because if 2 is repeating 2 times, we just write to the power 2. Same thing here. This one and this one is exactly the same and repeating 2 times, so which means I can write power 2 there. Divided by, can I write like this? if you have 10 to the power 2, that means two zeros there. Power 2 means two zeros. So can I write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? 10 to the power 8. 10 to the power 8 means 0. We have 8 times here. That's what we mean by this, which is equal to Q. Now, which is equal to P into 100 square minus K square the whole square, which is equal to, if I transfer this 10 to the power 8 to the other side, it will be into 10 to the power 8. So this is the answer. I hope it is in the option. Where is it? 10, 100, oh, 100 to the power 4. 100 to, oh, we are using 10 here. So I need to, but what are the options there? If you look here carefully, we are getting an option similar with q into 8 to q into 8. So which means it should be power 8. That means this option and this option is eliminated. And we have p here, we have p here, 10 minus k minus k. Remember, we have to the power 2 here. We have we have to the power 2 here. So which means our option will be probably this one. But you can also do like this. And yeah, I'll just solve it completely for you. P into, but before that, I'll have to teach you something here. If you have 2 to the power 2 to the power 2, okay, then what do we do? 2 to the power 4, okay? Itu tidak multiply karo. Power upon the power, what do we do? We just multiply the power. 2 to the 4. That is what we do, okay? When you have power upon power. Same thing goes for this. What I'll do is 100 can be written as 10 to the power 2. And there is a power of 2 minus k square whole square into q into 10 to the power 8. What is it? Can I write this way? P into 10 to the power 2 to the power 2. That means 2 to the 4. 10 to the power 4 minus k square to the power 2 equal to q into 10 to the power 8. So which is option number A there, okay? So just by option elimination, without going this also, we are getting the answer. So I hope we are clear with this. The only tricky part was this one only. So if you have got me with this, then other than all those stuff, just your way of solving simplification, you can just use your method, okay? This one, it's a question based on population. This one though, you can memorize this formula, or without memorizing also, I'll use without memorizing, okay? But if you want to, you can memorize this one. These are the formulas. The population is increasing at R rate per year. After n years, the population would be this one. So those are the formulas. Without formula, let us try to approach. I'm solving this to make it much more easier for you, that without formula also you can solve the answer, okay? The question says there is a bacteria of 2000. It is increasing at a rate of 5%. You are asked to find for after 3 hours. After 3 hours, see, every hour it is increasing at 5%. 5% increased, another 5% increased, and another 5% increase. Because we are talking about 3 hours, that means there is an increase of 15%. I can say that. Or another way, we can also find if your income is 2000, what will be your 10 tides? Your 10 tides will be 200 rupees, right? If your income is 2000, your 10 tides will be 200 rupees. So if your 10 tides is 200 rupees, remember this is 10%. 10%, how can we convert from 10% to 5%? Can I say like this? 10, if I divide this 10% by 2, I'll get 5%, which is 2 5s are. So I'll divide this 10% by 2, which will give me 5% there. 5% is how much? 5% is 100. So the 5% is 100. Every hour, the bacteria is increasing 100 because 5%, 5%, 5%. So first hour, 5% increase, which is 100. Second hour, 5% is increase, which is 100. Third hour, 5% is increase, another 100. Total of how much is increased? Total of 300 is increased. So from this one, total of 300 is increased, which means 2300 is the answer. So without using formula, we are directly getting the answer. So whichever way approach you can use and get your answer directly also, okay? So that is how we solve the question. Are we clear with this? Can we move on to the next question? Okay. The next is the net percentage change. Okay. This is a this from this topic. There's one formula that is very much important, which is this one. Formula number 2. This is the most important formula. Why? Because this is discount formula. Okay. So if you don't know how to solve, then it's like this. Let's say if you ask to find the net, a shopkeeper gives a discount of 20% and a successive discount of 20% and 10%. What is the net percentage, or what is the net discount? Okay, if you ask like that, a shopkeeper is offering 20% and a 10% successive discount, one after the other. Then what is the net discount? If you ask to find like that, the formula is like this. This is x, this is y. 20 plus, the formula is how? X plus y minus xy divided by 100. X plus y, that means 20 plus 10 minus 20 into 10 divided by 100. 0, 0 cancel, another 0 cancel. 20 plus 10 is 30 minus 2, which is equal to 28%. So the discount is nothing but 28%. That is how we find, okay? So the most important formula is this one. But other than this, if the number is increased 2 times, that means plus x plus y. Always remember, if we are increasing 2 times, there will be plus, plus, plus only. Everything same, just that there is plus, plus, and plus there. But if there is decreased 2 times, there will be a minus sign here. If the number is decreased, then increase. That means decrease means there's a minus there, then increase means there's a plus there, and remember the net will be minus there. Okay, but one more thing again, this is the final conclusion here. If a number is increased by x% and then decreased by x%, then the net result will always be uh, decreased. Okay, something like this. I'll just tell you something here. If a number is increased by 2% and then decreased by 2%, then the net result will always be smaller. Okay, so the net result will be always smaller than the original number. We can also use an example. If 100, if it is increased by 10%, that means it will become 110. And from this 110, if it is decreased by 10%, it will be how much? 110. What's the 10% of 110? 10% of 110 is nothing but how much? 11, right? If your income is 110, then your 10 times will be 11. So which means from 110, I need to subtract 11, which is equal to 9. And what is it here? We have 10 minus 1 is 9. So earlier our number was 100 and it was increased by 10%, which becomes 110 there. And from this 110, now it has been decreased by 10%. If we decrease by 10%, we are getting how much? 99 there. That means the net answer or the net result here will always be smaller than the original value. If percentage increase and then decrease, percentage is same. Okay, so keep that in mind. This may be handy for data sufficiency. Okay, data sufficiency question. So keep that in mind, because I feel like one question was asked from this one, I guess. I'm not sure, but okay, let's try a question here. It's a question from Nssb BYQ. The question is, the marked price of an item was 2,000, but a shopkeeper offered a double discount of 20% and 15%. So if there is a discount of 20% and 15%, what's the net discount? That means how much discount is the customer getting? 20 plus discount formula was what? X plus y minus xy divided by 100. This is discount formula. Double decrease. So plus 15 minus 20 into 15 divided by 100. So 0, 0 cancel, 2 5s are 10, 5 3s are 15. That means how much is it? 35 minus 3, which is equal to 32%. So there is a discount of 32%. How much did he finally sell the items for? So if there is a discount of 32%, Okay, the mark price of the item was this one. So mark price is this one. So which means, can I write like this? Mark price 100% is 2123, and 1% will be how much? 2123 divided by 100, which is 1% will be 20. 1% is nothing but 20. We need to find for 32%. 32% will be how much? 20 into 32% into 32, which is equal to 0, 2 to the 4, 2 to the 6, 640. That means there was a discount of 640. Why? Because discount percentage is how much? 32%. If there is a discount of 32%, then 32% value is 32% of value to gimana sih? 640 rupees saja. So from the price was 2000, from this the discount of 640 is given. So what will be the value? 0 there. 9 minus 4 is 6, and 9 minus 3. Oh, yeah, 9 minus 6 is 3, and 1 is taken. That means 1. 1360 is our answer, which is option number A here. You can also, from this point, you can also go another variation, which is you find 32% of, what is it? 2123 also. If you use this approach, you will get this value. But another approach is also this way. I'll just for your understanding, okay, I'm just giving you this. Another approach can be 32% discount from 100. 32% discount if from 100, if there's a discount of 32%, that means 100 minus 32% will be how much? 100 minus 32%, 10 minus 2 is 8, and 9 minus 3 is 6. So the selling price is 68. There was a, from 100, there was a discount of 32%. That means the selling price is 68. So 1% is 20. You just find for 68, 60. You always get that. Okay. I hope we are clear with this. Any doubts? If you're clear, please give a thumbs up. We'll move on to the next. Okay. Next question here. This was the question which was asked in this year in Nssb. The question is, a ball band factory decided to reduce its production by 10% over that of the previous month for the next 3 months. For the next 3 months. From Feb 2025, in Jan 2025, it produced 3,000. 3,000. In the month of Jan, 3,000 was produced. 3,000 ball pen was produced. And every month, 10% is reduced. So what is asked? How many ball pens were produced in the month of March 2025? In the month of March 2025. Simple approach by Parivo. We can use this one by simple approach. There is a decrease of 10%. If your income is 3,000, what's the 10%? 300, right? From 3,000, if there's a decrease of 300, what will it be? Your answer will be, your value will be how much? 0, 0, and 2, 7. 2,700. But remember one thing here. This is Jan value. So this is in the month of Jan. This is in the month of Feb. We need to find in the month of March. So another 10% is being reduced. So if your income is 2,700, what will be your 10 times, or what will be your 10%? 270, right? So from 2,700, if 270 is reduced, what will it be? So 0, 0, and 10 minus 7 is 3, and 6 minus 2 is 4, and 2 there. So which is 2430. This is one approach we can use. But remember, this is a little bit lengthy. I'll give you a shortcut approach. Shortcut approach is this. The price was 3,000. There was a production of 3,000. First year, earlier you were producing 100%, but there is a reduce of 10%. Reduce of 10. From 100, if I reduce 10, it will be 90. From 100, if I reduce 10%, it will be 90%, right? Again, this is for the month of Feb. And for the month of March, it will be same thing. From 100, there will be a decrease of 10. That means there is a decrease of 10. So 0, 0 cancel, another 0, another 0 cancel, another 0, and another 0 cancel, another 0, another 0. 9 nines are 81, 0 into 3, 0, 3 ones are 3, 3 eights are 24. We are getting by this. In exam, what I'll do is I'll use this approach. Are we clear with this? Shall we move on to next? Okay, the next is this. It's an important question because this is a combination of two things, mensuration as well as percentage, okay? But we can solve this one by percentage directly. We don't need to do anything. I hope you may notice, what's the volume of a cuboid? Length into breadth into height though. That's the volume of a cuboid. The question says the length is what? I won't write anything. The length was increased by 10%, the breadth was increased by 20%, the height was increased by 50%. I'll do like this. I'll approach this by percentage. How? Since we are given in terms of percentage, some teacher may approach different way, but I'll approach this question this way. What I'll do is, there was 100%, there was 100%, and from that 100%, from that 100, 10% was increased. 10%. Why I'm using this approach is because there is a multiplication sign here. That's the reason why I'm using this, okay? Earlier, let's say, earlier the volume was 100. Now, because of the increase of 10%, can I write like this? It will become, earlier it was 100, now it has become 110 because of the increase of 10%. Earlier it was 100, because of the increase of 10%, it has become this one. Next. Same thing. This is length. What about breadth? Earlier it was same thing. It was 100 and it is being increased by 20%. Increased by 20%. Can I write 120 here? Because it is increased by 20%. Earlier it was 100 and it was increased by 20%. That means it becomes 120 there. Into, same thing for the height. Earlier it was 100 and it is increased by 50%. That means it will become 150 there. So this is height. So I'll just reduce this one. 100 and 100 cancel. 0 and 0 cancel. Another 0 cancel. One more 0 cancel. So if we multiply this, or can we reduce this? 5 2s are 10, 5 3s are 15, 2 6 are 12, 6 3s are 18. So which means 8 ones are, if I multiply this, 9, 8. You look here. Earlier, what I assumed was, I assumed this one as the volume. Earlier, the volume was 100. And now the volume has become 198 because of the increase of this one, increase of this tree. That means how much is increased? Earlier, it was 100. And now the new volume has become 198. How much is increased? We are just asked to find what is the percentage increase in volume. 98 is increased. So the answer here is 98%. Are we clear with this? Okay. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Similar type of question based on percentage, based on profit and loss, similar with that, but let's approach this one by percentage. The question is, a shopkeeper sells two items, A and P. The item P cost price is twice that of the item A. The shopkeeper sells item A at 10% profit and item P at 20% profit. Which one of the following is the net value of profit? Okay, let's try this question. It's a PYQ of Upsc. So the question is like this: there are two items, A and B, and the question says the cost price B's cost price is twice that of the item A. You might remember me, when there is percentage, I will always assume 100 there. So the cost, if I assume the cost price of X, A is 100, the question says the cost price of B, the cost price of B is what? Twice of A. That means 2 times of 100 is how much? Can I write 200? The price of A is 100, then the price of B is twice, which is 200. This is 1, then this will be 2. That's what it means, okay? Twice means that. The shopkeeper sells an item A at 10% profit. That means the shopkeeper is selling this one at a profit of 10%. And the item B at 20%. That means this one was sold at a profit of 20%. So if this one is increased by 10%, can I write 110 here? I can write that, right? Because it is being increased by 10%. Same thing. 200 is increased by 20%. But remember one thing here, it is 20%. Can I write like this? If your income is 200, what will be your 10%? What will be your 10%? Can I say 20? If this 20 is your 10%, if I multiply 10% by 2, I'll get 20%. So which means 20 multiplied by 2 is nothing but 40. So which means it will be 200 plus 40 will be 240. Since there is an increase of 20%, 10% of 200 is nothing but 20, and 20% will be nothing but 40. Double of this one, 20%, 20%. This is 10%, this will be 20%. So from 200, if 40 is increased, that means it will be 240. Now, what is asked? Which one of the following is the net value of profit? Now, what I'll do is I'll do like this. I'll find this, the value of this. What's the value of earlier selling price? 200 plus 100 plus 200 is earlier selling price was 300. Oh, I'll just do like this. I'll bring this one here. Old selling price 100 plus 200. Before the price was sold at profit, it was how much? 300. But after the increase in profit, what will be the new price or new value will be? New selling price will be 110 plus 240. It will be how much? 0, 5, and 3, 350. So if you look here carefully, earlier it should have been 300, but now it has become 350. So how much is increased? 50 is increased. But remember one thing, we are asked to find the net profit. So from here to here, there is an increase of 50. There is an increase of 50 from here to here. But I'm comparing from this one to this one. So I'll use this one in my denominator. That means I'll use this one in my denominator. Why? Because I'm comparing from this one to this one. That means from this one, I'm increasing 50 there. So I'll use this one in my denominator from the concept we have learned. And remember, this is in terms of fraction. If I want to get my answer in terms of percentage, I need to multiply by 100. So 0, 0 cancel. I have 50 divided by 3. 50 divided by 3. 3 ones are 3. And 3 6 are 18. And 3 6 are 18. And 3 6, yeah, it is option number D there. I hope we are clear with this. So it's a very good question. Clear? Shall we move on to the next? Okay. The next question is this. Similar type of question. A shopkeeper keeps. Okay. Now there are two items, A and B. The question says the cost price of this one. The cost price of this one. Oh, I'm using selling price here. Let me just make a correction. Some correction here. This is cost price. Okay. Now the cost price of, if the cost price of this one is 100, then the cost price of B is double of this one, which is 200. If from 100, if there is an increment of 10%, it will be 110. From 200, if there's an increment of 20%, that means 200 plus 20% of 200. So 10% is 20, 20%, 10% of 200 is 20. So if I want to find 20% of 200, it will be 40. So 200 plus this one will give me 240. Now, the cost price or the buying price of this one, of both the article is how much? Both the article is 100 plus 200, which is 300 there. That means the shopkeeper is buying both article A and B together at 300 rupees. But after the selling price is he is selling at 10% profit and 20% profit. That means he is selling at 110 rupees and 240 rupees. So total of 350. That means he bought the article for 300 rupees, but after selling both the articles, he has a money of 350. So how much is it increase? From 300 to 350, there is an increase of 50 rupees. There is an increase of 50 rupees. But remember, I'm comparing it with this one, 300, because this is the cost price. So from this one to this one is what we are doing. So which means we are comparing this. So this should be in your denominator. But remember one thing, I'll be discussing this one as well. Always give your cost price in your denominator, okay? Because we'll be comparing with it with cost price only. So cost price here is this one. So this is in the denominator. Since I want to get my answer in terms of percentage, I'm multiplying by 100. So which means the option is, the answer is 16.66, like that, okay? I hope we are clear with this. Next is, what is it? A shopkeeper gives a 3 consecutive discount. Okay, I'll leave this one for you. You give it a try. If you're not getting the answer, I'll solve it for you, okay? We are still in. Wow, I want to finish these 2 topics tonight. Okay. The question here is, 2 employees, X and Y salary is increased by this one. Okay, it's a very simple question. The question says, there are 2 employees, X and Y. There are 2 employees. X salary is increased by 12%. X salary is increased by 12%. This one is a BYQ from Upsc, okay? And okay, X salary is increased by 12% and decreased by 10% and decreased by 10% and decreased by 10%. Also, which means I'll just write increased by 12% and decreased by 10%. And Y's salary is first increased by 10%. Is first increased by 10% and then decreased by 12% and then decreased by 12% and then decreased by 12. Remember, decrease by 12%. What is asked? If their salaries at the present are equal, then what was the ratio of the initial salary of X to the initial salary of Y? Okay, initial. Okay, it's a very simple question. You look here carefully. Let us try to understand the question completely. There are 2 employees, X and Y. X salary was first increased by 12%, and after this, it is decreased by 10%. That's what the question says. Again, Y salary was increased by 10%. Y salary is increased by 10% and then decreased by 12%. That's what we have. Okay. Now the question says, if their salary at the present are equal, then what was their ratios? Okay, the present salary of this 2 here, this one is equal. That's what the question says. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll do like this. The salary of X was, let's say, X only. From this, there is an increase of 12%. Earlier it was 100 and there is an increase of 12. Can I write 112? Earlier it was 100. There is an increase of 12. That means it will be 112. Into, again, there is a decrease of 10. That means earlier it was 100 and it is decreased by 10. Can I write 90 there? This one will be equal to, this will give you the present salary of X. This one. This value is nothing but this one, okay? Same thing goes for Y. Y's salary is increased by 10%. Increased. That means earlier it was 100. If it is increased by 10%, can I write 110 into, now the salary of is being decreased by 12%. That means decreased by 12% will be how much? 100. If it was 100, and if it is decreased by 12%, it will be, can I say it's 88? So which means it has become 88 there. Earlier it was 100. Because of the decrease of 12%, it has become 88 there. Okay, this is what we have. Now what I can do is I can cancel this one. 100 cancel, another 100 and another 100. because if I transfer this 100 to the other side, it will go up here. If I transfer this 100 to the other side, it will go up here, and this two will get cancelled. Okay, same thing here. I'll keep x and y on both sides and transfer everything to the other side. X, if I transfer y to the other side, it will go in denominator. Y is equal to 110 into 88 divided by, if I transfer this 112 to the other side, it will go to the denominator. Okay, 112 into, if I transfer this 90 to the other side, it will go to the denominator. 0, 0, 0 cancel. And what is it? Can we reduce? 2 4s are 8, 2 4s are 8. 2 5s are 10, 2 6 are 12. 2 2s are 4, 2 2s are 4. Or can we reduce by 5? 4. 4 11s are 44. 4 1s are 4, 4 4s are 16. So which means 11 into 11 is 121 divided by 9 4s are 36, 6 3 in hand, 9 1s are 9 and 12. So we are getting how much? 121 is to 126, which is option number C. How's it? Are you guys clear with this? If you're clear, please give a thumbs up. Let's move on to next. Yeah. Okay. The next question is, okay, it's an interesting question. Okay, this we see this type of question a lot in exam. A number is mystically divided by 4 instead of multiplying by 4. What is the percentage change in the result due to this mistake? Okay, I'll just frame an equation. A number was divided by 4. That means, shall I assume the number is x? The number was x, but this one was divided by 4 instead of multiplying by 4. That means if this number is divided by 4, it will be this one. If this number is multiplied by 4, it will be this one. This is the correct value, and this is the incorrect value. So what I'll do is I'll find the error. What is the error between these two? That's what I'm going to find. Okay. So if I want to find the error between these two, it should have been 4x, but what is it? It is x by 4. So what will be the error here? 4 4s are 16, x minus x divided by 4. If you look here carefully, 4 here, that means, or in simple words, you multiply this 2 minus this one will give you directly the answer. Okay, you treat this type of question as mixed fraction also, it's fine. So 16 minus 1 is 15, x divided by 4. So what is it? What's the percentage change in the net result? Okay, this is the error. The original value should have been 4x, but there is an error of what? There is an error of this one. So the error is 15x divided by 4. This was the original value. This should have been the correct value or original value, but there is an error of this one. And I need to get my answer in terms of percentage. I'm multiplying by 100. So if you have fraction in the numerator, it doesn't matter. It will just simply as it is. 15x divided by 4 into 4x. X and x will get cancel each other. So which means I can also cancel like some terms here. 4 into 25 is this one. So let us multiply 15, 25, 5 is 25, 5, 2 in hand. 5 2s are 10, 12, and 25. That means 5, 7, 3, 375. 375 divided by 4. So if I divide this, 4 9s are 36, so 9 point something. 4 9s are 36 and 15. 4 3s are 12, so 93 point something. I don't need to get the exact value. The answer, there's only one option which has 93 point something. So the answer is 93.75 there. Are we clear with this? I think it's a very easy one. Just that you need to get the value, find the error, and divide it by the original value. Okay. So it may be subtraction, addition also. Okay. Ini kumpala question dito ki jane 24 takado 50 42 hoje. So what will be the error? So you may also be asked that way. Okay. So same thing, use error and the original and multiply by 100. It will give you the percentage change. Okay, now, next question is this one. Maybe this one is the last. Oh, we have election based as well. Ah, yeah. It's okay. Let's give a try this one. In an examination, 80% of the students passed in English and 70% of the students passed in Hindi. 15% failed in both the subjects. What is the percentage of the students who failed only in one subject? Whenever you see this type of question, what I'll suggest you is always solve this one with a diagram, okay? With a Venn diagram. That is the easiest approach. What I'll do is I'll create two things here. One is let me assume that the first group of students, which is, let me assume this one is English, and there's another group of students which is what is it? There is a group of English and Hindi. Another student Hindi. The question says the ones who have passed in English is 80%. That means itu puras de. This whole thing is nothing but 80%. And next, the ones 70% of the student passed in Hindi. 70%. This one is 70%. That means this area is 70%. But remember one thing here, there will be some group of people who have passed in English as well as Hindi, both. This 80% is nothing but the ones who have passed in English. General term because they in general, 80% of the people passed in English. And again, in general, 70% of the people passed in Hindi. So there will be some group of people that have passed in English and Hindi as well. So which will be covered by this one. If you we have done Silok, so you might have learned this one. So this area here will be nothing but common to both English and Hindi. Okay, the ones who have passed in English as well as Hindi. What does the question says? 15% failed in both the subjects. That means the data here is about the ones who have passed. But from 100, I'll remove 15. Why am I removing 15? Because I'm removing the ones who have failed in both the subject. So it will be 85. Now, this 85 here, the data that we have it here is nothing but it's only about this 85% only. This data here is only about the ones who have passed in English and Hindi. Who have passed. That means we don't need to include the ones who have failed. So from 100, 15% failed in both the subject. That means the ones who have passed in failed in English as well as Hindi will not be included here. So I'm removing that. That means I'm getting 85% here. So the data that we are talking here is only the total value should be only 85%. But if you look here carefully, you have 80% here, you have 70% here. If you want to find the ones who have passed in English and Hindi here, what you will get is 80 plus 70, it will be how much? 150. 150% there. So if you look here carefully, for when I talk about this area, I'm covering this area once, and when I talk about this area, I'm covering this area once. That means this area here is being covered 2 times in English as well as Hindi. So there are some extra value here. The actual value is only 85. It should be only 85, but there are some extra value here, which is 150 there. So the extra value that we see here in this 150 is nothing but the area that is covered by this one. Okay, that means the ones who have passed in both the subjects. So what I'll do is I'll do like this. From 150, if I subtract the original value to it was 85%, because we are talking about only 85% of the students. Why? Because 15% failed in both the subjects. So now we are just talking about 85% here. So from 150, if I subtract 85%, how much should I get? 10 minus 5 is 5, and 14 minus 8 is 14 minus 8, 2, and 4 is 6, 65. So we are getting 65. So the area here is nothing but this one, I can write this one as 65. The ones who have passed in both English and Hindi is nothing but 65%. Are we clear with this? Are you guys following this? So there are 65 people, 65% who have passed in both English and Hindi. But remember one thing, what is asked? We are asked to find the ones who have failed in only one subject. Only one subject. Who have failed in only one subject. So I need to find for the ones who have failed in only one subject. So what I'll do is I'll do like this. This is the people who have passed in both the subjects. That means the remaining will be the ones who have failed in both the subjects, right? Yeah. The remaining, not both the subjects. From this 85, if I remove this 65, what I'll get is I'll get for this one and this one together. The ones who have passed in English but not passed in Hindi. This one is not included there. And same thing here. If I subtract this to, what I'll get is I'll get this area and this area. Why? Because the ones who have passed in English but not passed in Hindi, or the ones who have passed in Hindi but not passed in English. So that is what I'll get. So if I subtract this, 0, and 8 minus 1 is 20. So the answer here is 20%, which is option number B. So it's a very good question. Are we clear with this? Any doubts you want to clarify? Clear? Okay. Let's move on to next. It's already 2 hours. But let's try to finish. I think we are just left with a few slides. I want to finish this topic tonight because it's just 15 days. So, and remember one thing, some topics which are not very much important for exam point of view, we try to go a bit faster, but the topics which are important for exam, we are going very slow, okay? So that's the reason why this topic is important for exam. That's the reason why we are going slow here. Election-based question. Very simple concept. You just keep this one in mind. Let's say there is a village where there is 100%, 100 people. The question can be asked this way. In an election, in a city, let's say in a city A, there will be some group of people who will not be eligible to vote for the election. So let's say 2% of the city is not eligible to vote for the election. That means remaining will be how much? Remaining will be 98%. So which means 98% will be eligible to vote for the election. If 2% of the city is not eligible to vote, that means 98% will be eligible to vote. Okay. Now, among this 98%, there will be some group of people who will turn up for the election, and there will be some group of people who will not turn up for the election. So what I'll do is I'll just write not voted for the election and voted for the election. So on that election day, there will be some group of people who will not vote for the election. That means they may be out of station also. And there will be some group of people, they will vote. So what I'll do is, let's say the question says 95% of the voters voted for the election. That means remaining is how much? From 100, don't look at this one, okay? Don't look at this one. You every step you just assume 100 only, okay? So from 100, if 95% voted for the election, that means remaining will be how much? 5% did not vote for the election. That is what we can say. Again, within the voters, there will be some votes which is invalid. So let's say there was 1% of the vote was invalid. Invalid. That means how much? How many percent will be valid? From 100, if 1% is invalid, that means 99% was valid. With under this 99%, there will be two candidates, candidate A and candidate B. Let's say candidate A and B. Let's just assume that candidate A got 55% of the total valid vote. Then B will get how much value? How much percent? B will get 45%, the remaining, which is 45%. So this is the only concept here. We'll try to understand this one thoroughly by solving a question, okay? Some questions. Question number 1. In an election between two candidates, A candidate got 60% of the total votes polled, is elected by a majority of 4,000 votes. That means in an election, let's say there was 100%. Out of that 100%, there is two candidates. Let's say candidate number A and candidate number B. The question says like this: a candidate got 60% of the votes polled. That means let's assume that A got 60% of the votes. That means B got how much remaining, which is 40%. Since there is no criteria given here, there is no condition. If a condition like this is not given, not voted or invalid, if these things are not given, you don't need to go, you don't need to complex things here. This is that is not mentioned here. That means no condition is given here, which means that I can just directly solve this one. From this 100%, there is A and B, and A got 60% and B got the remaining, which is 40%. But remember here, look here carefully. This one, the candidate number A was elected by a majority. That means he won the election by 14,000 votes. That means A won the election. A won the election by 14,000 votes. 14,000 votes. But you look at this. A won the election by how much percent? 40 and 60. 40 and 60. 60 minus 40 is how much? 20. So A won the election according to our percentage. A won the election by 20%. According to our percentage here, A won the election by 20%. But remember one thing, A won the election by 20%, but in our question, it is given as 14,000 votes. That means this 20% is nothing but 14,000 votes. So which means 1% will be how much? 14, 1, 2, 3 divided by 20, 0, 0 cancel, 2 sevens are 14. That means 1% represents how much? 7,000. What 700? What is asked? The numbers of votes polled by the winning candidates. The number of votes polled by the winning candidate. That means how much votes did the winning candidate receive? 60%. You just need to find the 60% of this. 1% is this one. That means 60% will be. I'll just multiply by 60. So how much is it? 6 sevens are 42 and 1 2. Did I miss 1 0 here? 0 0 14,000. Okay, 0 0 here. 60 1 2 3 1 2 3. Yeah, so which means 42,000 there, so which is option number A. Are we clear with this? It's a very easy one. Let's try one more question. I think I have, yeah, we are coming to an end for percentage. In an assembly election, a candidate got 55% of the total valid votes. 2% of the votes were declared invalid if the total number of votes is this one. Okay, in this question, total number of votes is given 1 0 4 1 2 3 is given. This is the total number of votes, and the question says in an assembly election, a candidate got 55% of the total valid votes. That means there is a condition for valid votes. 2% of the total votes were declared invalid. That means 2% was invalid. Invalid. That means how much percent is valid? 98%. From 100, if 2% is invalid, that means 98% will be valid. And the question says the candidate got 55% of the valid vote. From this valid vote, 55% is what the candidate got. Let's say candidate number A got. That means remaining will be how much? What's the remaining votes here? Remaining votes will be, can I say 45%? 45% is the percentage of vote received by the other candidate, by the losing candidate. What is asked? The number of valid votes polled in favor of the candidate is. That means the votes that is polled in favor of the candidate. That means candidate number A, this one, okay? You just need to find that. How do you find this? The formula is this. You go along this way. From here, deal this way, okay? So if you, this one was asked, you go along this way. Since this one is asked, I'll go this way. How? 55% of how much? 55% of 98% of 98% of how much? 98% of how much? This one. Of 1 0 4 1 2 3. So if I simplify this, I can rewrite this one as 55% means divided by 100, of means into 98 Percent means I can write it divided by 100 into 104,123. Please solve this one, okay? I'll leave this one for you. You multiply, you divide it, and you'll get an answer. This one, okay? I'll leave that for you. I'm just solving for your understanding. Any doubts here? Are we clear with this? Okay. Maybe this is the last second question I'll do for percentage. Total population of an area is 10,000, out of which males and females are equal in numbers. Out of the total population, 30% are newspaper readers, and out of the total newspaper readers, one third reads English newspaper, and out of the total English newspaper reader, 20% are female. Okay, whenever you see this type of question, any there is a group of people and another group of people, and within that also another group of people, always remember that we need to approach this one by election concept only. Okay, so when there's bunch of different groups of people, so let's try to approach this. The question says there is a population of 10,000, and of which male and females are equal. That means if there is 10,000, if male and female are same, the number of male and female are the same only, then what do we do? That means if I can say, can I say like this? Male is 5,000 and female is also 5,000. Why? Because there's equal number of male and female, and there is a total of 10,000. Next, out of the total population, 30% are newspaper reader. That means out of this, 30% is newspaper reader. Newspaper reader. That means how much? 70% is not reading newspaper. Out of the total newspaper reader, okay, within this newspaper reader also, one third reads English newspaper. One third. One third reads English. You can write it anyway, okay? You can also write this way. I'll just write this way. One third reads English newspaper. One third reads English newspaper. So which means the other groups is reading another newspaper. So it's not mentioned here, so I won't go there. Out of the total English newspaper reader, that means within this English newspaper reader also, 20% are females. That means 20% are what? Females. That means remaining are male. So from 100, if 20% are female, that means remaining is how much? 80% is male. What is the number? What is the number of males who do not read English newspaper? Who do not read English newspaper? That means I need to find the number of people who are not reading English newspaper. Can I write like this? I know the total number of male. So if I can find the number of male who is reading English newspaper, the number of males who are reading English newspaper from the total, if I subtract the English newspaper reader, then I'll get the ones who are not reading English newspaper. So that's an easy approach. Let's give it a try. Like I told you, I'll approach this way. Since I need to find this one, I'll go this branch. So how much? 80% of one third of 30% of 10,000. So which means 80%, 80 divided by 100 of 1 by third of 30%, 30 divided by 100 of 10, 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 1, 2 cancel, another 2 cancel, 3 tens are. That means we are getting 8 into, this one is 800. So there are 800 males who reads English newspaper. So there are 800 males who are reading English newspaper. That means how many? There is a total of 5,000. From this 5,000, if 800 reads English newspaper, remaining is how much? Remaining is, it will be how much? 4,200. 4,200 does not read English newspaper. That's the only thing. You just need to find how many of them does not read English newspaper, which is 4,200. Are we clear with this? Same thing, this is a question from UPSC BYQ only. You try this. Exactly the same. This is a BYQ of Nssb. Okay, you try this one. Or coming to profit and loss. Before that, I'll just we need to do this. A person sells article X for this one and makes a profit of this one. He sells the article at a loss of 10%. He neither lose nor gain on the whole transaction or on the whole because of this two transaction. What is the selling price of the article Y? Okay, let me try. It's a very interesting question. A person sells article X for 34,000. This is the selling price. Selling price is how much? 34,500. This is the selling price. He makes a profit of 15%. He makes a profit of 15%. Okay. He makes a profit of 15%. Can I write like this? Since this selling price is given as this one, and he's making a profit of 15%. If the cost price is 100, if there is a profit of 15%, selling price will be how much? Selling price will be 115%. Why? Because there is a profit of 15%. If there's a profit of 15%, it will be selling price will be 115% there. So can I write like this? This 115% is nothing but 115% is nothing but 34500. This is 115%. Now, 1% will be how much? 1% will be 34512 divided by 115. This is 115. Next is he sells the article at a loss of 10%. He sells the article at a loss of 10%. Okay, there is a loss of, so another article Y. This group here is for X. Okay, this is for X. And let us find for Y. Cost price was 100, and if he is selling at a loss of 10%, at a loss of 10%, it will be how much? Selling price will be 90 rupees. So now it will be 90% there. Cost price was 100. Since there is a loss of 10% from 100, if there's a loss of 10, that means decrease of 10, that means it will give you 90. Yeah, 90% there. So if you look here carefully, let's try to understand like this. He's gaining some money here and he's losing some money here. And the question says he neither loses nor gain in the whole transaction. That means in this, by selling this one at a profit and by selling this one at a loss, there is no profit nor loss, which means that the amount that he gains here is being covered up by this one here. That means the amount that he lost here was being covered up by the amount that is being earned in this one. So can I write like this? How much amount is earned here? If I want to find the amount that is earned in this transaction, is how much? How much amount is earned? There's a profit of 15%. So which means if 1% is this, 15% will be how much? 15% will be 34500 divided by 115 into 15. 115 into 15. Okay. 115. Since 1% is this one, I need to find 15%. Why 15%? Because there is a profit of 15%. That's the reason why I'm finding 15%. 15% is this one. The question says 10%, 10% of 10, we lost 10% here. 10% of what? This one. So 10% of this transaction here is nothing but it is a transaction of Y. Y la transaction as it. So he's losing 10% of what? Of Y, right? Of Y. I'll just write Y there, which is equal to he's losing 10% in Y, but he is gaining how much percent in the other one? 15%, which is 34512 divided by 115 into 15. 15% is gained here. So 15% value, log value to how much? This one. So he neither gains nor loss means the loss that it has been occurred in Y is equal to the amount that is being earned in X. So this is what the question says. So if you simplify this, I'll just write it halfway and I'll leave it for you. 10% is 10 divided by 100 into Y equal to 34500 0, 0 divided by 115 into 15. So you can simplify this further. I'll leave it for you. 0, 0 cancel. So which means y is equal to 3. Can we cancel this? 5 3s are 15. 5 2s are 10. 5 3s are 15. 23, 23, 23, 23, 3, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we can also cancel here, but let me just stop here for once. It will be 2, 4, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 0, 0, another 0. We have 10 here, so another 0 into 3 divided by 23. So 2, 3, 3, 45, 3, 45, 20, 23, 20, 20, 23, 123. How much should I get? 23, 123. That means how much is left? 4, 4, 4 and 7. 4 and 7 is 11, 115. 23 into 115, 23 into 515, 515. 23 ones are 23 fives are. That means 1, 2, 3. 23 ones are 23 fives are. If my calculation is not wrong, we will get this one is 45, 1, 2, 3. If my calculation here is not wrong, I'm getting y value as 4,500. Remember, we are not asked to find y value only. We are asked to find what is the selling price of article y. The selling price of article y is how much? 90% there. Remember, the y that we are getting here, this y here is nothing but this one, okay? 100%. So which means if 100% is y, 100% is how much? 45,000. That means 1% will be how much? 450. Because 0, 0 will cancel each other. We need to find 90%. 90% will be how much? 450 into 90, which is equal to 0, 0 will be there. 9 5s are 45, 4 in hand. 9 4s are 36 plus 1 is 4. 36 plus 4 is 40. So 40,500, which is option number B. So that is what I'm getting. Any doubts here? Do you want me to repeat? Clear? Let's go to profit and loss. It's 923.